Hello, baseball fans. We are back in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field for game number 7 of the 1969 Fergie Jenkins payoff pitch replay. And today, the Mets nemesis that he faced 2 starts ago and actually was perfect through 6 innings are making a visit to Wrigley Field, and they're looking for a chance for revenge against Fergie, while Fergie will look to continue his dominance over them. And the starting lineups for today, minus the fact that the Cubs aren't playing each other. So for the Mets, leading off in center, Rod Gaspar. Ken Boswell will be at second base. Juan Swoboda. I sound like Elmer Fudd. Juan. It's not. He's not from Puerto Rico. Ron Swoboda. Right field hits third. Cleon Jones in left will bat cleanup. Ed Kranepool will be at first base. J.C. Martin behind the plate tonight. Ed Charles at third. Al Weiss at short. And on the hill for the Mets, a young fireballing right-hander, Nolan Ryan. And Ryan, obviously not known at the time, but these two would go on to have a few memorable duels over the years. So we will see how Ryan does early in his career against Fergie here, who was already one of the premier pitchers in the NL by this time. The Cubbies, they will send Don Kessinger up to lead off at shortstop. Glenn Beckert will be at the Keystone spot, hitting second. Sweet swinging Billy Williams will be in left field. Ron Santo at third base will bat cleanup. Mr. Cubby Ernie Banks will be at first. Randy Hundley behind the plate. And Al Spangler in right field, Don Young in center, and again Fergie Jenkins on the mound. And here's where we stand, real life versus replay. In real life, he was 4-1 at this point. Replay, he is 4-2. ERA is very similar. The real life ERA a tad higher because he had a rough outing in his first start. Innings pitched, 49 to 46. Hits, has given up 4 less in the replay. Walks 3 less, and Ks, he has had the K ball working, 52 to 42, and 4 home runs apiece. And in the comparison of how the Cubs did while he was on the mound, in real life they were 5-1 at this point in Jenkins starts, and in the replay they are 4-2 in Jenkins starts, as he's gotten a decision in each of them. And in this game, on 5/3/1969, the Cubbies won 3-2 in real life. So again, we will see if Fergie can continue his dominance against the Mets. And with the lineup set, anthem is sung, fans are settled, and we are ready to play ball. As Rod Gaspar, just let me make sure the cards and everything is aligned. All right, we're ready to go. So Rod Gaspar is going to start it off against Jenkins. And that will be a patient result. And 74 against the right-hander is going to be a fly out to center field to start the game off. So Don Young puts that away, 1 down. And Fergie starting where he left off. Harry Carey up in the booth, already having a good time, and it's a ballpark check already. And for the left-hander, Wrigley, that will be an in-play result. So Ken Boswell swings and puts this one into play. And that's going to be right down to first base, and Ernie Banks, the former shortstop, gobbles that up, steps on the bag, and we have 2 down. Ron Swoboda now comes up, and the New York Mets right fielder digs in. Fergie the pitch, and 7 is going to be an in-play result, and Swoboda is going to get a hold of that and drive that right back up the middle into center field. So no El Perfecto flirting today, as the Mets get the hit out of the way early on. And down at first base, Swoboda, he is not a big base runner. He's going to stay put. Cleon Jones knocks the dirt off the spikes and digs in. 8's going to be tough, and Fergie's going to bring some high heat. Swing and a miss, sits him down. And that ends the inning. So 1 hit, no runs, nobody left. We head to the bottom of the first, and no score. Nolan Ryan, the fireballer, and you can see he's going to get his share of Ks in this game. Tough, 6 through 8. Also a lot of patient results on there. So this should be an interesting game as Kessinger steps in. And 7's going to be tough, and against the right-hander, Kessinger, not that easy to fan. He's going to ground that down to shortstop. And up with that is Ed Charles, whips it over to, Al Weiss. Whips that over to first base to Ed Kranepool, and Kessinger heads back to the dugout. 1 down, Glenn Beckert up. And a fireball, and Texan kicks and delivers, and that's going to be a tough result as well. And that'll be a ground ball down to shortstop again. Weiss, 2 consecutive putouts to start the game for the Mets. And brings up sweet swinging Billy Williams, and Williams looking to take the youngster yard, and 4 is going to be a patient result. But that's going to be a fly out to center field, so he gets a hold of it. Does not take it very far though. And Nolan Ryan off to a good start. 3 up, 3 down for the Cubbies. We head to the top of the second with no score in this one. As Ed Kranepool steps in. And Fergie kicks and delivers. That's going to be tough. And 44 will be a ground ball down to third base. 5-4 put out there. Santo to Banks, and 1 away. J.C. Martin getting to start behind the plate for Jerry Grody tonight. And tough from Fergie. 72 is going to be a fly out to center field, so 2 down. So buckle up and grab some popcorn. We could be in for a little bit of a pitcher's duel between these two here. And that's a tough result to Ed Charles. Fly out to center field, and 3 up, 3 down for the Mets. So Fergie comes back in the top of the second, matches the youngster, and Ron Santo is going to lead things off against Nolan. And Ryan, patient result there, and that's going to be a single for Santo, so he gets the Cubbies' first hit of the game. Drives that into left field between shortstop and third base, and Santo, not really much of a threat to run here. He's going to stay put, thought about it. But he's going to let Ernie Banks swing, Mr. Cubby. And that's going to be a patient result. And Ernie Banks drives that one into the outfield. And again, using the fast action card for hit results, single. That is a soft blooper into short left field. Runner on first advances 1 base. So station to station we go. Playing a little Earl Weaver style baseball, load up the bases and hope for the big fly, and Randy Hundley is capable of that. Ryan kicks, delivers, and that's going to be a tough result, and Ryan takes care of Hundley, and it's going to be a ground ball to second base, and 8 outside of Hundley's replay or double play range, and exactly on Nolan's. So we will roll the die, and again, did this to kind of balance out fielders' choices and double plays. So this will be 11 to 45 will be a double play, and 47 will be a fielder's choice. So Santo over to third. 4-6 on the put out at second, and Hundley on a fielder's choice. Runners at the corners, 1 down. Al Spanky Spangler steps in from the left side, stares Ryan down. Here comes the pitch. And that's going to be our first defensive check. And that will be an error check on third baseman, and at the hot corner for the Mets is Ed Charles. He is an F. This team is not very good. 67 and an F there. I'm sorry, I'm checking the range error chart. 2 is the roll there, and 2 on the error chart, and that is going to be an error. 67 was within the range, and the error result on that is on the infield is 1 base. So coming in to score will be Santo, and no RBI will be credited on that. That will be an unearned run against Nolan. And runners now on first and second. And that is not how you want to start the game out if you are the Mets, but as indicated, they're not very good in terms of range, and they do have a couple of people out there that have good gloves. But in this case, Weiss was not one of them. So Don Young has an opportunity to pick up a couple of runs here, and that's a tough roll. And 89 is going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. And 7 outside of Young's double play range and inside of Ryan. So again, we will go to the 2D10, fielder's choice or double play. And 48 will be a fielder's choice again. So we have another put out at second base. Over to third goes Randy Hundley, and on at first base is Don Young, and there are 2 outs in the inning now. And should anything else happen, all runs will be unearned, as Nolan should have been out of this. His defense not doing any favors. And facing his opposing pitcher, and patient, and 37, and Fergie is a good hitting pitcher here. But it's not going to be good enough as he grounds that down to first base. Cranepool picks it up, flips over to Ryan covering, and the inning is over. So 3-1 on that put out. The Cubbies get a couple of hits, 1 unearned run. We are through 2 innings and heading to the top of the third. Score Cubbies 1, Mets 0. And Al Weiss steps in. Jenkins kicks, delivers. That is a tough rating, and that's going to be a swing and a miss. Weiss looks foolish trying to catch up to that fastball. He goes down. And Fergie's opposite number, Nolan Ryan, comes up. And Fergie wants to give Nolan a taste of his own medicine there. And 2 is going to be tough. No need to check that. Ryan back to the dugout almost as quick as he walked up to the plate. 2 down, 2 strikeouts for Fergie. That gives him 3 on the day. And Rod Gaspar flew out to center field his first time up. And that'll be a defensive check. And that will be an error on the pitcher himself. And Fergie is a 3. Roll of 73 and a 3. He's going to make the play. So 1-3 on the put out and another 3 up, 3 down inning for the Mets. And Fergie continues his dominance over the team from the Big Apple. The other team from the Big Apple, the team, of course, is the Yankees. Mets are merely there as renters in the basement. And Nolan Ryan gets set to face Kessinger, and that's going to be a patient result, and Kessinger's going to draw base on balls there. And Ryan's first walk of the game will not be his last. If I was a betting man, I would go with that. And down at first base, Kessinger cannot get a jump, so Glenn Beckert looks to pick him up, and another patient result on Ryan's card, and that is going to be a fly out to right field. So 1 down as Beckert avoided getting plunked on the pitch before that, and that brings up sweet swinging Billy Williams. And Williams looking to play a little Led Zeppelin ball and put one on the stairway to heaven here. 11 will be a defensive check. And that's going to be another error check on third base. And of course, Ed Charles, he is a 2. So 2 and roll of 1 to 70 is an error there. So another error by the Mets third baseman. And infield will be a 1 base error. So Ryan cannot be happy about the defensive play behind him, as the Cubbies have runners on first and second without the benefit of a hit thus far, as Ron Santos steps in. Going to pick up a couple of ducks on the pond here, and that is a patient result. And Ryan, that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop, and 5 is within both double play ranges, so 6-4-3 double play. Nice play by Weiss, whips that over to Boswell and over to Cranepool. So no hits, no runs, 1 error. The Cubbies leave 1, and we are through 3 innings. Score Chicago 1, New York 0. And Ken Boswell leads it off for the Mets here in the top of the 4th inning. Fergie kicks, delivers, and tough will be a fly out to left field, 1 down. Ron Swoboda steps in, and Swoboda has just a little bit of pop in that bat. He hit 9 home runs in part-time duty during the season. 7 will be an in-play result, and that's going to be a fly out to right field, so 2 away. And Fergie now has set down 9 in a row after a 2-out single in the first, so he's back to his dominant ways against the Mets as Cleon Jones steps in, 2 outs. And Fergie, tough as they come, that's a ground ball down to shortstop. Kessinger's going to gobble that up, whip it over to Banks. And another 3 up, 3 down inning as Fergie. If Pedro Martinez was playing on the Mets, he would say, I guess Fergie Jenkins is my daddy, as he has owned them in a couple of starts this season. And Ernie Banks set to go in the bottom of the 4th inning. Nolan Ryan kicks, delivers, and that is tough. 49, though, is going to be a single, so Banks fights that off. And the Cubbies have their 3rd hit of the day off of the young fireballer. And Ernie, unfortunately, at this point in his career, does not even get the opportunity to steal. Randy Hundley steps in, and 9 will be a patient result. 49 on patient, and that's going to be another single. So they are starting to get to Nolan now, and a long single into the gap in center field. Runner on first advances 1 base. So a little station-to-station play again, and Al Spanky Spangler comes up. Swinging from the left side, and in the 2nd inning, he reached on an E5. Ryan the pitch, and that's going to be patient to Spangler, and Spangler's going to draw a base on balls, and the Cubbies have the sacks loaded, ducks on the pond, nobody out. And Don Young would like to get something done here and not put it in the hands of the pitcher, who is up next. So Ryan kicks and delivers. 7, though, is going to be tough, and 35 is going to be a big swing and a miss and a huge strikeout for Ryan. So 1 down, and that is what he can do. Get himself in trouble, but get himself out without the benefit of a ball in play as Jenkins steps in. And 9 will be a patient result, and that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. And 9 is within Jenkins, outside of Ryan, so we go to the 2-6. And 92, that will be a fielder's choice. So on that, the Mets tried to turn the double play. But could not get it done, and Banks is going to come in to score. Spangler is erased at second, 6-4. Over to third goes Hundley. And Fergie on at first base. And the Cubbies have their 2nd run of the day, benefit of a fielder's choice. 2 down, runners at the corner for Kessinger. And here comes a pitch from Nolan Ryan. That's tough, and 61 is going to be a ground ball down to second base. So with the sacks loaded and nobody out, could have been much worse for Ryan. Instead, only 1 run comes across on a couple of hits, and we are through 4 innings, 2-0 Cubbies. And Ed Kranepool set to lead it off against Jenkins in the 5th here. Patient, and that is going to be a single for Kranepool. So that breaks Jenkins' string of 10 in a row set down. As Kranepool rounds the bag, heads back to first base, chats with Ernie Banks, and he's going to consider trying to steal here. Cannot get a jump, however, and J.C. Martin, the catcher, digs in. And that's going to be a ballpark, and that's going to be a wheelhouse. So Martin takes a big rip at it, and it is a harmless fly ball to center field. He just got under a fat Fergie Jenkins fastball there and could not get solid wood on it. So 1 down, and a disappointed Ed Kranepool scampers back to first base. 6 will be tough, and that's going to be a fly out to left field. Runner holds, 2 down. As Ed Charles is retired and Al Weiss steps in. Weiss looking for a little 2-out magic. And 6 will be tough, 57, and that's going to be a swing and a miss. So Weiss fanned for the 2nd time today. The Mets get a single hit, leave 1. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning, still 2-0 Cubbies. And Glenn Beckert going to start off the 5th against Nolan Ryan here, and Ryan, as tough as they come when he wants to be, but Beckert even tougher to strike out, and he fights off a good Nolan Ryan fastball into the opposite field for a single. So Beckert gets his lead as Billy Williams digs in. is not going to try and steal. Here comes a pitch to Williams. And that's going to be tough and will be a fly out to right field. Runner holds. Ryan really does not have the strikeout pitch working today. In fact, only 1 K through 4+ innings, which is somewhat of a surprise as Ron Santos steps in. And 11 will be a defensive check again. And that'll be a range check on the shortstop. And out at short, Al Weiss has horrible range. He is an F. Roll of 67 on an F, and that just tips off his glove and into the outfield. And on that, the shortstop will be a single. Runners advance 1 base. So the Cubbies not very aggressive on the base paths, but they are getting some opportunities. And Ernie Banks now comes in. Banks is 2 for 2. He has singled twice and scored a run. So 2 on, 1 out. Pitch. And tough. That's going to be a fly ball to left field. And underneath that is Cleon Jones. Puts that away comfortably. 2 down. So Ryan has been flirting with disaster several times today, but has not really gotten burned badly thus far. And that'll be a patient result to Hundley, and that's going to go out the window as he walks the bases loaded. So second time he's been in this predicament due to a walk. And that brings up Al Spanky Spangler. Fortunately for Ryan, he has not had these situations with the Cubs' best hitters up, which has been a blessing, I suppose. And that's going to be a tough reading, and that'll be a fly out to center field. So again, Nolan Ryan extricates himself from a bases loaded situation, and 5 are in the books. The score is 2-0 Cubbies as we head to the top of the 6th inning. And Ryan, they are going to leave him in, and his fatigue rating takes him into the 7th, and he's only given up 2 runs, so he's good. That'll be a patient result from Fergie and Ryan. Not an extremely good hitter. And 39 will be a ground ball down to third base. Santo takes care of that over to Banks. And 1 down, back to the top of the order. Rod Gaspar checks in. And Gaspar on the day has flown out to center field, grounded out to Fergie. Here comes a pitch, and that's ballpark. And the right-hander, that's going to be wheelhouse. So Gaspar, unfortunately for the Mets, is not a power hitter, but he can hit singles, and that's just what he does. A 1-out single here in the 6th, and Mets are in business. And he's going to try and steal. So he has a rating of he is a 4C. So behind the plate is Hundley. And I do not think that's right on his defensive number there. Yeah, okay, he's good. He has an arm of 2. So that just was not on my sheet. All right, so Hundley has an arm of 2 and a result stealing attribute of C. So 2C is going to be 60 to 99 to be safe. So Gaspar goes. Here comes a throw from Hundley and guns him down. Roll of 15 there, and he is going to be caught dead to rights. So that's one area Hundley has been fairly solid through this replay, is taking care of stealers. Or I should say would-be base stealers. And 8 from Fergie, that's going to be tough. And Boswell, big swing and a miss there. Goes down flailing away, and that is strikeout number 5 for Fergie on the day. So the Mets waste a hit as Gaspar's caught stealing. And we're heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Still 2-0 Cubs. Don Young set to face Ryan here. Patient result, and that's going to be a walk. And I should say yet another walk, and that is walk number 4 on the day for Nolan Ryan. To the surprise of absolutely nobody here in the jam-packed Wrigley Field bleachers. And Fergie up, and he's going to lay down he's an F. He's going to give it a shot here. He needs 34 to 84 to be good, and 27, and that's going to be the lead runner getting gunned down. So we'll go 1-4 on that, and Fergie on a fielder's choice on a failed bunt attempt. Back to the top of the order, Don Kessinger up. And here comes a pitch from Nolan Ryan, and that's tough, and 95 will be a fly out to left field. So Ryan's been getting the tough results. He's just had high rolls on that, and they've turned into regular outs. Glenn Beckert, 2 down, steps in. And tough result again, and 49. It's going to be a fly out to right field. So the leadoff walk does no damage as Nolan Ryan takes care of the next 3 batters. We are 2/3 of the way through this one, and an epic pitcher's duel would not be the last between these two. And we're heading to the top of the 7th inning. Ron Swoboda steps in to face Jenkins. And that's going to be a tough result there. And a swing and a miss, Swoboda. Totally overmatched. K number 6 for Fergie. He continues to pile up the impressive strikeout numbers. Fergie kicks and delivers, patient, and Cleon. He's going to ground that down to Kessinger. Kessinger whips it over to Banks, 2 outs. Ed Cranepool cuts the bat through the air a couple of times. Here comes a pitch from Fergie, and that's tough. And that'll be a fly out to left field. So 3 up, 3 down. Fergie back to his Fergie things. And we are heading into the 7th inning stretch, 2-0. Right here, Saturday morning at the old ball game. Spoken word, Henry Rollins style. Billy Williams set to lead it off, and Ryan comes tough. And that's going to be a fly out to center field. So yeah, definitely surprising. Ryan has only had 1 strikeout thus far into the 7th inning here. Now the Cubbies have not been impressed by the young fireballer, and that is a patient. And that'll be a ground ball down to shortstop. So Weiss takes care of that. 2 quick outs. And Ryan's really only gotten in trouble. His defense has let him down a couple of times, and not surprisingly, Wildness a couple of others. Ernie Banks steps in, and Ryan says, "You need a bowl of cereal. Here's a special K, swing and a miss." So his 2nd strikeout completes a 3 up, 3 down inning and sends Ernie Banks back to the dugout, muttering, "Who is this young fellow?" And we are through 7 innings, still 2-0 Cubs. J.C. Martin behind the plate steps in against Fergie. Fergie to pitch, and patient, and that's going to be a base hit. Martin drives that between 1st and 2nd. And the Mets have a base runner here to start the 8th. And 2-0, and that's going to be enough to get the Cubbies bullpen going. And loosening up out there is going to be both Ted Abernathy and Phil Regan. They know how important it is to stay ahead of the Mets here as Ed Charles steps in. And depending on what happens, we could see the pitcher spot, and that's tough. And Ed Charles is going to go down swinging there. Big strikeout for Fergie. So 1 down, and Al Weiss appropriately standing on his head, because that's what Fergie's fastball has done to him today, as he has sent Weiss down swinging twice. Let's go for the trifecta here. And 8's going to be tough. Weiss gets a hold of this, but it'll be a fly out to center field. And that's going to bring up the pitcher spot, and that is going to bring in a pinch hitter. So first off, Ron Taylor is going to start loosening up in the Mets bullpen. And this is going to bring Art Shamsky off the bench to face the right-hander in Nolan's spot. So Ryan, he pitched real well today. He completed 7 full innings and gave up only 6 hits, 2 runs, one of which was unearned. The only area he struggled, not surprisingly, is walks. He did issue Well, not too bad actually for him. Only 4 free passes. Only struck out 2, however. So Taylor will take over in the bottom half of the 8th inning, and Shamsky set to pinch hit. And Fergie 2 down, runner on first base, gets the sign, comes home. In play, and that's not going to get it done for the Mets. That'll be a harmless fly out to left field. Parking under that is Billy Williams, eats a sandwich, waits for it to come down, tucks it away, so 1 hit, no runs, no errors in the top of the 8th for the Mets. And we are heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. Your score, Cubbies 2, Mets 0. And Ryan replaced on the mound by Ron Taylor, and Taylor will look to keep things close as the Mets will have 1 more opportunity in the top of the inning. And Fergie, how about Fergie though? Utter domination against the Mets in 2 starts as he's had them shackled again all day today. That'll be an in-play result to Randy Hundley, and a pop out to shortstop. Circling under that is Weiss. Taps the glove, puts it away, 1 down. Hundley is retired. That brings up Al Spanky Spangler. And the pitch to Spangler is going to be in play, and that's going to be a ground ball to second base. So 4-3 on the put out there. Taylor's done his part, 2 quick outs. That brings up Don Young. Young digs in, waits for the pitch. And in play result for Young, and Young's going to drive that hard into left field. So a single for Young, 2nd time he's reached base today. The Cubs' 7th hit on the afternoon. And Fergie, a decision to make here, but he has pitched good. No need. He's given up 4 hits in this game, so no need to pinch hit for them. They're going to let him finish. And that is going to be a defensive check. So this could be interesting. That's going to be a range check in left field, and patrolling left field is Cleon Jones, who is a C, and a roll of 20. That's going to be a base hit for Fergie. And base hit on that. And that is going to be a single, runner's advance 2. So Young over to 3rd base. And runners on the corner, and Ron Taylor, hoping that does not come back to bite him, as you don't want to let the pitcher keep the inning alive in a close game like this. And Don, I'm not related to Henry Kessinger, steps in. Here comes a pitch. That's going to be tough, and 13 is a swing and a miss of Kessinger. Fans, and the threat is extinguished. A couple of hits for the Cubbies, but no runs, no errors, and we're heading to the last canto here, and our score 2-0 Cubbies. Fergie looking for another complete game outing against the Mets. And standing in his way is Rod Gaspar, Ken Boswell, and Ron Swoboda. The pitch to Gaspar, tough. And 67 will be a ground ball down to second base. Becker takes care of that, 1/3 of the way there. As Ken Boswell steps up, Boswell steps out because his batting helmet fell. You could hear it clatter to the hard dirt there. And 10's going to be an in-play result to Boswell. That'll be a fly out to left field. Billy Williams puts out away, 2 down. The fans are on their feet, and Fergie back to his godlike self, especially against the Mets. Faces Ron Swoboda. Here comes a pitch, and that's tough. 36 is a swing and a miss. Fergie in style with a high heat puts Swoboda away, and the Cubs win. The Cubs win. So Fergie, an excellent outing. He continues his mastery over the Mets. A splendid effort here. As the Mets, no runs, 4 hits, and 2 errors. The Cubbies, 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors. And a 2-0 victory for the Chicago faithful to go home happy. And Harry Carey is on his 4th Budweiser up in the booth. He's celebrating with the fans. So let's give the final line score for Fergie here. And he has just continued to pitch outstanding throughout this replay. So on the day, Fergie, of course, the complete game victory. Once again, he does not walk a batter. His control has been exceedingly exceptional in this. Strikes out 8, and obviously no home runs. Really not much of a choice there. When you look at the line score, player of the game can go to only one man, and that is the namesake of our replay, Fergie Jenkins. Yet another complete game whitewashing to the Mets, 4-0. And that will move him to 5-2 on our replay. And he was 5-1 in real life after this game, the actual game being a 3-2 win. And again, Cubbies 6-1 in his starts in real life up to this point, and 5-2 in the replay. So another great outing by Fergie, and we'll be back with Start 8. And next up on the channel, I'm getting hooked into it, Red, White, and Blue Racing. We ran the Ice Brew 600 last night. If you haven't seen that video, feel free to check that out. Great finish, a little bit of drama at the end, and a big piece of drama in the first third of the race. And I just need to get the flow of the game down a little bit better. I'm still learning it, so a couple of mistakes where I had to pause last night, but we will make sure that those go away as the race season goes on, and the only way to do that is keep playing. So again, great game, check that out. Playgames.com, Red, White, and Blue Racing. And this game by Joe Bryan, payoff pitch. You know, I've pimped it before, but just the overall quality of these games. These cards, exceptional stock. The mechanics are very innovative. So give Joe Bryan some love too. And pick up Payoff Pitch at Sideline Strategy Games. He also recently released a basketball game. I'm not a huge basketball fan, so not sure that I will check that out, but I will definitely continue to support his baseball efforts. And as always, in the left-hand side of my channel there, my subscribers, a lot of great channels that we subscribe to. We would encourage you to check out. Al Red Sox Fan, ID Gesture, Strat-O-matic Delaware, Higher Ground Gaming, Clinton Parks, Baseball Demos, Tabletop Plus Baseball, The Earl and Earl Show. The list goes on and on. Broke Black Man 94 does a great job with reactions to TV shows, so please support our friends of the channel. If you like this video, slap a thumbs up on there. Tell your friends, your neighbors, Aunt Lucy. I'll take an apple pie if she's baking. And until next time, keep rolling for the fences. Have a good day. Happy Saturday, all.